Hello again, my name is Edson Flores, and I am going to be walking you through the steps of how to sketch, and this is actually one finished piece. So, some of the tools that you're gonna need are a ruler, doesn't matter how big it is, also a pencil, whichever one you prefer. It could be a wood pencil or a um, mechanical pencil, and then if it is a wooden pencil you might want to need a sharpener and then an eraser and then your colored pencils. So what you want to do is try to find the middle of the page and just draw a line going across it. Don't draw it too dark because you are going to be erasing it. And then after that, what you're gonna do, you're gonna divide the line into 9 different parts. Every inch is gonna be one mark. So don't start at the very top of the page. Try to give yourself some room, and then just kind of mark it along. And then after that, the basic principle of actual fashion sketching, and the body is called a croquis, is that the models are, since they're supposed to be taller, the principle is that if you measure from the top of your head to the bottom of your chin and you put that kind of under and just kind of stack them, it is going to be 9 heads because they are taller. And so from the very top line, that's the top of the head, and then the next one is the neck. And since the neck is a little longer, you are gonna want to leave a little space. And for example, that would be the neck, and then you're just gonna mark it depending on what kind of pose you're going to be doing. And we're gonna be doing actually a frontal view. And then the following line is the apex or the nipple. And you're gonna want to follow or try to match up with the top line that you already drew. And then the next one is going to be the waist, the natural waist or your belly button. And that one changes a little bit. You're gonna follow the top lines that you drew already, and you're also going to do another one and kind of change the angle. And then the next one is the hips. And then after that, it would be the legs. So I like to start at the waist since I do find it a little bit easier, and just kind of curve it up, and you're gonna stop at the apex and then kind of follow the same thing on the opposite side. And you do not want to make these lines dark because you're going to be drawing over them to sketch the clothing. And then after the waist, you're going to want to come back out for the hips. And also they're not supposed to be symmetrical. And then for the legs, so this line is number 4, and then you're gonna skip 5 and you're gonna go to 6. 6 is the knee area, and you want to draw a line, just a vertical line, to make it, and that's one leg. And then from the opposite side, you're gonna want to draw another one. And then that's the knee. And so what I do is just kind of follow the curve of the hip and just go all the way down to the knee and stop there. And then from the center, you're going to do kind of like a curved line going the opposite way of the one on the outside. And again, stop at the knee and then just kind of mark where the knee ends. And then the other leg is actually supposed to be a little bit behind since she is supposed to be walking. And so it is also a little bit higher. And yeah. And then for the rest of the leg, just either follow the line or kind of curve it out a little bit more, depending on how much of a stride you want her to be doing. And then this one's actually a little bit harder to do, in my opinion, because kind of trying to match it up and making it look like an actual leg. You don't want it to be too skinny and you don't want it to be too wide. And then let's see it. And then this is actually supposed to be just the 9 heads, but I always add an extra marking, so it's actually 10. And the 10th mark, I use it for the foot. And just kind of do some sort of triangle and follow the... Yeah, and then that's one leg complete. And then the next one is actually supposed to be, since it is behind and she is walking, it's actually supposed to be a little bit shorter. And it sticks out a little bit more. Okay, so the next part in sketching is actually completing the top half of the body, which would be the arms, the shoulders, the neck, the head. So the first line you guys drew, if you remember, the very top one, that is actually your shoulder guide. That's where your shoulders are going to fall. And usually I use the center line that we drew at the very beginning of the video to kind of mark where the neck would be. And so just kind of draw 2 straight lines going up. And also, since the body is a little bit curved, you might want to follow from the crotch area, follow kind of a curved line all the way up to where the shoulders would be, or the shoulders fall. And it's kind of the curvature of the body since she is walking. And then center the neck around that line. Then after doing the neck, you're going to do the shoulders. So just kind of following that same line that's there already. Just kind of follow all the way out. And then for the shoulder, I do a circle just to kind of give me an idea of where the curvature of it would be and how it's going to fall, because we do have the muscle. So we're gonna do one hand just straight down and the other one is going to be resting on her waist. So just kind of do a triangular shape of sorts to give you an idea of where the arm is going to be. And the next one is just going to be straight down, so I don't usually draw a line. And then just kind of fill it out with the arm and kind of go with it. And also keep in mind that sketching does not go this fast. It takes me usually about half an hour just to do the body. And then the clothing, that either it makes it way longer or it stays about the same. You can erase like all the little lines that you made. So the hands, this one, it's going to be sitting on your waist. So I just do kind of 4 little lines following the actual palm of your hand, and then your fingers. And then the bottom one is kind of the same, but a little more open. And I don't usually draw the fingers. I personally don't like to. And for the other hand, since it's just hanging, it's just kind of following the. And on this one, I usually just draw the thumb and the one of the other fingers. And then that's it for the arms and hands. And then the head, it's just this, not necessarily a circle, it's more of an oval shape. And that one, usually you should try to make it all the way to the very first marking that you made. And yeah, I also do not draw the faces. I don't find really a point on drawing them. So yeah, I just kind of, you can if you want. That's more on your liking. And then yeah, that's pretty much the hand. And then you can also draw the breasts. I usually struggle with this part. I can never get them like to be symmetrical. Okay. And then just start drawing the clothes. Okay. Okay, so now that I've shown you guys how to sketch the body. I have actually erased the markings that I made. I'm going to show you guys how to actually render a dress. So it depends on what you're going for. It could be really tight fitting, or it could be, for example, a ball gown. In this case, we're actually going to be doing a mermaid dress, not too tight, but also not too loose. So usually I start with the skirt, and just kind of try to make the lines of the hips a little bit darker. And don't erase the legs until after you're finished with the actual outline of the skirt. So I just darken where the hips are. And after that, I did mention that it wasn't supposed to be tight, so it's just kind of going to fall. Not somewhat following the lines of the legs, but not completely over them. So just kind of follow until you get to the knee area. After the knee area, that's when it sort of flares out, and it is shorter in the front, so your legs, your feet does show. So I'm going to raise this part and just sort of leave the bottom part of the legs. And then more of a triangular shape. So make it flare out, not too much, not too little. So yeah, just kind of. And also notice how one side I made it flare out more. It is because one leg is, when you're walking, the train of the skirt, it might get caught in between your legs. So it does make different movements and doesn't always look symmetrical. So you always, when you're walking, or you might have a fold. So I just kind of do a line in the middle, somewhat flaring out a little bit, and that per se is going to be the center of the dress. So after that, just kind of do not completely squiggly lines, but just more try to do them not too many, and then just kind of curve them out and how you would think it would fall on a dress or like on the actual dress. So this and then. And since this a heavier fabric, it also makes a big difference on how the fabric moves when she is walking. And then also I like to do a little line up here because it is tight. So you when she walks, one leg actually makes a shade. So this is actually going to be shaded rather than being a whole line. And then it does have a little train. So we'll draw that. And then when you're drawing a train, you're of course not going to draw all of it, so you just have to make sure that the lines match up in the back and just kind of somewhat go with it.
Oh, so Edson.
Oh, sorry.
There we go. Yeah, you're fine.
And then that's pretty much it for the skirt. And then the top, it is a sweetheart neckline. So not too much, not as hard as the bottom as the skirt. So just kind of find the center and pretty much like drawing the top of a heart. It's just kind of. And then you want to erase the breasts, and that's. Let me redo it. And that's the actual finished shape of the dress. And I'm going to show you guys a finished sketch, which would be this one. And yeah, that's it. So when you're coloring a dress, you don't want to erase all of the lines that you made because those are your guides. I kind of just whatever shade or whatever color the dress is going to be, I use that color to outline it and then just fill it in. And for example, with this dress, it is going to be blue. So this parts would be darker where the folds are. They will be darker, and most of the skirt is going to be light. So you want to color it not too dark. And when you actually start doing all the shading, you're going to make these lines or on the side of these lines darker just to show how the light would fall on it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And you can see a difference. Of course, I didn't do the whole finished product, but it should look a little bit somewhat like this.